My guest is Professor Dr. Wolfgang Georg Arlt. He is the director of the China Outbound Tourism Research Institute, and he is here in London speaking at the conference regarding outbound China tourism. Thank you for joining us, Wolfgang.
Thank you for having me.
Your expertise is outbound travel China. We were just talking a bit about the mass tourism outbound type thing. I suppose that just at the end of the day is a pure numbers, non-creative, pure numbers game?
Yes, so I think you can see from the experience of, let's say, the last 10 years that there is a growing number of ADS, approved destination status tourists, but it's very hard for normal inbound companies, Western inbound companies, to earn money with them. So because they're very price sensitive, they want to have real cheap prices. So most of these companies are actually organized by overseas Chinese living in Europe. And so for this part of the market, where the retailers are making money, but the tour operators, the hotels, the transportation companies, they're not making a lot of money off them because it is really a question of having it as cheap as possible.
In other markets, I mean, thinking of the first outbound China markets being Hong Kong, the money was made, actually even you'd sell the package at loss. If your cost of hotel, air and all was $100, you sold it at $98 because you made it up on the commission from the shopping.
Yes.
Which other destinations around the world has a similar model where whether it be shopping for clothes, jewelry or real estate or something else, they can make it up from the non-margin or loss of travel?
Yeah. So of course, where Southeast Asian countries have been doing this, Thailand, Malaysia, also to some extent in Indonesia and Singapore. In Europe, it's very hard to do this because the retailers and the tourism industry are not very well connected with each other. And also there are a lot of legal constraints to giving kickbacks. And I've been working with retailers and they simply tell you, well, we have electronic cash registers. We simply don't know how to put this in our cash registers.
But you have the Japan model where you bring the buses to their pearl factory, but that pearl factory is subsidizing the tour operator.
Yes, but as I said, this is a model which in Europe is not very widespread. So in Europe we have this idea that there's a high culture which is visiting a cathedral, visiting a museum, and you have low culture and shopping is part of it. So if you look at itineraries when Europeans are doing them, you will see, okay, we visit this and this site, and then if there's still half an hour time, okay, you can go to some pedestrian area and buy some souvenirs, some postcards. But shopping is not seen in the European travel industry as a behavior of tourist activity for tourists, which is on the same level, at the same degree, than visiting a museum or a cathedral. It is seen as something you do by just in between. So, and this has a result that the retailers don't see themselves as part of the tourism industry, and the tourism industry is not accepting the retailers as part of their industry. So they are organized in different associations. They don't talk to each other that much.
You know, when you ask who's going to fill this, and not only the 20, 40,000 rooms they built now, but the next batch of 20, 40,000 hotel rooms. I said, well, in a 2-hour flying radius of here, we have 1 billion, blah, 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 Chinese. So that 70% savings rate is going to is what's doing it, what's generating all this outbound tourism.
Yes, in the case of Macau, also where you have to see that a large number of the rich people are in Guangdong province, which is a neighboring province. So for them to travel to Macau is not a big deal. It is just a few hours by train, or if they're a little bit further away, half an hour by airplane. That's not expensive, not complicated. It's easy to get a visa, a permit to enter Macau. So it's the obvious choice to go there. And well, gambling is a old Chinese tradition to do that, and Well, you hear stories that sometimes also use money for gambling, which in China they got not as part of their official income. So it's a good way to deal with that in Macau as well. So I've also been to Macau last year, and it's really very impressive. And I was told that the total number of hotel rooms is going up from 16,000 to 60,000 within a few years. And already now they have a higher turnover on gambling than Las Vegas. They are already the number one gambling city in the world. And of course, this is driven by Chinese visitors. 95% of the visitors are Chinese people, and some of them are high rollers who have enough money to gamble and to risk tens and hundred thousands of US dollars.
Wolfgang, thank you very much.
Thank you.